many years ago now, at least 40, when the world was full of princes and bosses and big hair and power suits and square television sets. There were two women who were feminists and friends, Lucille Shuck Longview and Carolyn McDade. Now, this was a time when women were no longer restricted to only really being wives and mothers and taking care of houses. Women could be secretaries or teachers or nurses. They could be doctors and plumbers and business executives too, as long as they didn't want to be paid the same as men. It was all very unfair, and women had to fight to be treated with respect and equal pay. And so Lucille and Carolyn were feminists and friends. Lucille was an activist fighting for women's rights wherever and however she could. And Carolyn was a musician singing for a better world whenever and wherever she could. Now, Lucille was also a Unitarian Universalist, and she loved our principles, especially that call for justice, equity, and compassion in human relations. She loved her UU community, all the people gathered that loved this hurt and struggling world. Now, at this time, Unitarian Universalists like to talk, just like today. And in Sunday morning services, just like today, there was a lot of talking. And most of it at that time was by men. Now, often the service was a lecture about an important issue, issues that mattered and were vital to the day, and people went away with full heads. Their minds were very well fed with thoughts and ideas and new insights. But even then, at 40 years ago, we didn't have a lot of rituals. There was the flower ceremony and the chalice lighting, but not all congregations lit the chalice. And now rituals nourish our hearts and spirits, and they help us feel and be as a whole. So people who had thirsty hearts, as well as hungry minds, sometimes went home with their heart a little thirsty. Lucille sometimes felt like this. She loved having the full head and engaging with these issues and learning, but she was sad about her thirsty heart, and she wanted to have her whole self nourished at a Sunday service. So while Lucille was thinking about her thirsty heart, she was invited to lead worship for a UU Women and Religion Conference. Women were gathering to talk about what they needed from Unitarian Universalism to feel welcome and whole. And Lucille immediately thought of her friend Carolyn, the musician, and asked her to help. And they worked hard to create a worship service that would engage the whole self. So they brought a big bowl of water and put it in the center of the room, with women sitting in a circle around the bowl. And women had come with water from all over North America. And they poured it into the bowl like rivers coming home to the sea. They spoke and sang and laughed, and at the end, their hearts were no longer thirsty. And they felt nourished head, heart, and body. And they felt like part of a chalice community. And the women who attended had liked the water ceremony so much they went back to their UU communities. And the people in their services, in their communities liked it too. And gradually over the next few years, water ceremonies began to happen in congregations all over North America. And that's why we begin each congregational year with this in-gathering ceremony with water, so that we remember to bring our hearts as well as our minds to the chalice. Thank you for listening with open ears.